20 years as well.
Yeah.
Jennifer Robbins has lived in Portland, Oregon for the past 20 years. She writes grotesque prose about the zonked checker, the cracked whore Morton Salt Girl, and drone strikes by the simple syrup. Her novel, I mispronounced this last time.
Boozy.
Boozy was published in 2000. Hey, could you help check them out? Thanks, all right. For 9 years, she booked and hosted a live variety show on KBOO 90.7 FM. She has toured the West Coast with a mix of performance art, music, and reading, including appearances at Bumbershoot and Portland's Note Fest. Her book of non-fiction vignettes, Death Confetti, was released by Feral House in June 2016. Hey, we're going to hold off a second here.
Seriously, I'll never come back here.
Yeah. Usually when people come in and we say, hey, there's a poetry show going on, they're like, no thanks, and they just leave. So, anywho. I wanted to say thank you to Jennifer also because John Sibley Williams was going to read tonight, but his wife is on the verge of having twins. They could be happening right now. So Jennifer agreed to step in and perform, and I really appreciate that. I've been happy and glad to call her a friend for this long as well. I'm at the 20 years part. So please welcome Jennifer to the microphone. Okay. There you go.
So I'll read you some things tonight from Death Confetti and some that aren't. This is one from Death Confetti. You know, Constance, you really changed the tone here. You've made me rethink of all of the things But so I'm going, you know, maybe I'll do some of the things I was going to do, and maybe I'll do some different ones. But I'll start out with this. Boo! Boo! No! In Portland, the light rail is called the Max. I get on the Max, and a stop later, a guy gets on. I guess he is at least 19, with his big, disused build, and his reams of soft flesh, and his 5 o'clock shadow at 2 p.m., and his legs in blue denim going gray that are so thick, like pipelines of tendon, like tree trunks crossed in a madhouse ecstasy as he presses buttons on a little device. Everything these days is a device. Even a backpack can be an explosive device. And whenever I see one abandoned on a highway median or a bus shelter, I think of the teams of plastic-wrapped security drones who will inevitably come running to inspect and remove the theoretical explosive backpack device, only to find empty Cheeto bags and lube and Axe cologne and Tic Tac containers and beef jerky wrappers and dead lighters and the Library of Alexandria inside. So this guy, he has a tiny device in his ground chuck hands. His hands are just curled around it, pressing and flapping, and he is like a large toddler making poo, poo sounds. Nothing too crazy now. He is still in the realm of stoned dudes seeking thrills. He is the baby baby of the family, who everyone lets be a baby forever and ever and ever until he's 56, and a janitor, and a diabetic, and in love with the neighbor's pubescent girl with mile-wide fish eyes and lips like a soft donuts. This is he. He goes, poo, poo, no, come back, come back, as the tinny speaker makes bells and casino sounds. No war game is this. It is so abstract and cute, and if something is killed, it probably sighs in pleasure as you kill it. I imagine, as the man exclaims with a dizzy sort of glee, that if his mouth opened, he would expose a set of sharp and gleaming rabbit teeth. On his feet, he is cushioned with enormous marshmallow-colored sneakers. They jut out at impossible, pointless angles, like a Frank Gehry building, pomp without circumstance. He is lost in the most sublime adventure. He is, as Zen masters and yoga instructors might say, following his bliss. And the lottery bells susurrate, and he cries, poo, poo, again and again, and come back, no! Mourning, if but for a second, the loss of digital nonsense. In the party favor store, a tweaker lady, nude under a pair of overalls, rakes her hands through a rustic basket of individually wrapped hard candies. She is all of 23, with the memories of a crone. These candies can plug the holes where her soul leaks out. One man at a time, one car, one sofa cushion. Clouds and blue sky shine out of her holes. I see vistas where there was once a child. Here's a little light moment here. In the Meyer grocery store, I gazed at a bulletin board which featured photographs of its checkers. The caption beneath each blurry, flash-washed grimace being 2 fun facts each employee could think of to amuse the store's clientele. All within certain standards of propriety, of course. Nothing about overdoses and dildo collections. One woman said she collected Disney movies and came from the high desert. Another woman, a Ukrainian-looking brunette in a razor-backed tank top, sat alert and in full focus at the edge of a chair, claiming to love hot spices and loathe anyone who musses the arrangement of pillows and throw blankets on her bed. And another man, a man of upper middle age, replete with red face, thick glasses, and worried smile. He said that he's formed a several-month relationship with a spider on his front porch. He stressed his priorities, stating that he is unnaturally sensitive to the needs of insects. Do you know, I believe him. My grandmother had a neck like a buzzard. Tendons, glaciers, strings. When I was a small child, I slept in the attic. I was afraid of the dark. My grandmother left my grandfather's side and permanently slept with me between the ages of 5 to 10. After this, she never slept with him again. Night after night, I would smell the opium pulp of her flesh. She smelled like papayas, vitamins. Her hair was a helmet of pewter black spider breast. She had dugs, triple, quadruple, D, E, F, forever. Her tan flesh gave. Her upper arms rolled. They were soft like tissue paper in cotton nightgowns. Her nose was a check beak. Her chin was enormous, a tectonic plate. In case of flooding, climb on this woman's jawline. Now! Her deep-set hazel eyes contained 100 colors. When asleep, these kaleidoscope eyes reverted to reptilian state. She looked like a dinosaur in slumber, ripping the air with ungentle snores. She would stop breathing dozens of times a night, during which I would count the seconds between the sounds, listen to the choking, and wonder if I would have to shake her, save her, breathe into her. But she didn't die, not for a long time. To be young in a house of the old is to always think of death, and naturally. I'm gonna do one that someone suggested I read at Josh's show in particular. Yes.
Does it beat Don Knotts' lips as a metaphor?
This has to do with someone I've heard you're a fan of.
Oh.
It's called Little William, the Scrotal King of the Beats. As you know, being a mammal is a bitch. Being a tree frog is a bitch for that matter, but when you are one of these massive human beings, mouth breathing and scratching and stomping all over the place, you are a natural target for parasites. We have parasites in our intestines and parasites in our blood. We have parasites on our eyelashes and in our flesh. The life cycle of a parasite is fascinating. Some people have families of tapeworms that live in their guts for several years. Some people have thoughts that act as parasites. Perhaps the most fascinating part of biological reproduction is the way that viruses and parasites camouflage themselves and find safe places to breed. There's the candiru fish, which travels up streams of urine to colonize in the penis or pudenda from which the yellow stream has sprung. Once in its host, it's party time. And scabies! Oh, scabies burrow into several layers of flesh so that no matter how many times a person scrubs and disinfects her environment, the little eggs are in there deep. Only a severe chemical assault will make them go away. Rodent mites, botfly larvae, they all like to burrow within the human host. At times, I've even looked at human embryos as parasites. You know, they suck the calcium out of your bones, your teeth, to make those adorable fingers and toes that you photograph in soft light when they hatch. If I was more talented as a visual artist, I would make a comic strip about a scabies parasite called William Burroughs, who wears a tiny little fedora and lives inside the subdermal regions of the male scrotum of the world's most beautiful twink. Every once in a while, little William would be typing on his miniature typewriter inside the scrotum of the beautiful young man. And this clatter of the keys would wake the man up. At times, an eerie, almost supernatural wave of synchronicity would occur, where little William and his human host would be asleep at the same time and sharing the same dream. A word might pop out of the host's mouth that William had typed. William would help his host make wise decisions in clothing selection and pharmaceutical use. You see, not all parasites are bad for you. Some can be downright symbiotic. I could do one more or call it quits. What do you think, Josh? Okay, I'm gonna do one called, and it's from Death Confetti, and it's called Nuclear Winter. Like many of the stories in there, my book is mixed up with family stories and observations of life in Portland, people on the Tri-Met bus system, etc. You've already heard one of those. And here's another one. How do you like this word? Nuclear winter. How do you like this word? Freezing to death. How do you like them together? Nuclear winter. Freezing to death. On February 24th, 2036. That's the end. That's when the world is gonna end. I don't care. I have my wife in the Justice Center. His apple red face is full of pores as big as moon craters, while he wears a hood on his head. A mass of dirty blonde hair sticks out at odd angles, frozen like stalactites by a personal grease. His body is long, stocky, Nordic in its girth. Those massive ski stick legs and dirty pale denim, pale eyes, pale biceps. Windbreaker B.O., hiking boots turned into sponges in the rain. His oratory goes on. It is in a drunken voice that feels all too familiar to me. I met my girlfriend in freshman year math class in 1981. Cleveland High School. I still love her still. She's in the Justice Center. The world's gonna end in 2036, but I don't care as long as I got my wife. My wife. I got a direct line to God. Only a fantasy. Only a fantasy. This is a fantasy. Ricardo Montalban is gone. Dear plane, Ricardo Montalban Island. Welcome to Fantasy Island, the Wrath of Khan. He put us on this planet 25 years ago. Life has changed. Never mind. James T. Kirk. Only a movie. Let's talk about reality. If I don't get my wife, My wife, I came back for her. Everything I do in this life is for my wife. Make her happy. He says it like a prayer. My wife, my life. Share my wife with another man. If that makes her happy, well, okay. I stay on the bus longer just to hear him, peer at his red face, feel where his words are going. He really does go to the Justice Center, a real place with a comic book name, the jail, the courts, the monolith. This is all a fantasy, but it won't end in 2036. I would do anything for my wife too if I had one. The buildings are occluded with fog. I was just in a restaurant bathroom and saw a sign that said, "Avoid alcohol during pregnancy." Wouldn't it be more apt for there to be a sign that says, "Avoid pregnancy during alcohol"? Ba-dum-bum. Thank you, John. I have some copies of Death Confetti available tonight, and once again, I'm happy to be with these beautiful Lady Box ladies. You'll be hearing Rios de la Luz read later on tonight.
Please give it up for Jennifer Robin.